I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. That is the oath that every U.S. Army soldier swears when they are enlisted. This is the story of one of those American soldiers. Not too long ago, in 1990, this American soldier and his family came to this country. He was only 8. When he was 16, 8 years later, he and his family went to a government building near Newburgh, New York, with a lot of other people, and they solemnly swore this oath. I hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty, of whom or which I have heretofore been a subject or citizen, that I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by law, that I will perform non-combatant service in the armed forces of the United States when required by law, that I will perform work of national importance under civilian direction when required by law, and that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. So help me God. Then they sang the Star-Spangled Banner, pledged allegiance to the flag, and proudly became naturalized American citizens. A few years later, when this young man graduated from high school, he said to his family, "I want to join the Army. I have special skills that Native Americans do not have, skills that the Army needs." But instead he went to college, as his father wanted him to. Then that horrific day, September 11th, 2001, happened. His sister later said, 9/11 made up his mind for him. He enlisted in the Army Reserve just 4 days after that happened. His unit was called up to serve as part of the invasion force into Iraq in 2003. While he was serving over there, he kept on getting comments from his fellow soldiers like, "What kind of last name is that?" Or, "Are you sure you're serving in the right army?" When he told his brother and sister about this over the phone, they said, "Is it worth it, putting up with all that mouth?" But he just said, "This is the only way I have to show how much I love this country." After 4 months of serving in Iraq, this American soldier, Mohsen Naqvi, got leave, and he came home secretly just in time to celebrate the end of Ramadan. Now, Muslim families gather together to celebrate the end of Ramadan, the way other families gather together to celebrate Christmas or Passover. And you know how that goes. If a family member can't be there, they're called on the telephone. That's all his family expected, to be able to talk to him on the phone. But instead, he showed up. I think you can imagine their surprise and their sheer joy when he walked in the door. His father said, "This is the best holiday I've ever had." While home during that leave, Mosen spoke to a reporter. He said, "It was pretty scary over there. My unit was under heavy mortar fire, so I had to sleep in my combat gear. But I knew that people in this community were praying for me." Maybe you've done that too. Prayed for someone in your community whom you may not even know personally, but prayed for their safety when they're in danger. And then he added, "You know, it's pretty hard getting used to running water again." Mosen's family and friends said over and over again, Mosen can make a joke about anything, even the worst situation. He's always the life of the party. When his leave was over, he went back to Iraq and served a total of 9 months there. Then he came home and finished his college degree. When he graduated from college, he signed up for the Army, the active service, once again reciting that oath. He told his family, "The Army is going to be my career. The only way I'm going to get out of the Army is if they throw me out, which isn't going to happen, or if I retire." In June of 2008, when he was 26, Mosen married a young woman named Raazia in a mosque in Colony, New York, where she lived. That's a town right next to the town where I live. People said afterwards, Mosen and Raazia were so happy that day. They were smiling and laughing the entire time. A few days later, as had been scheduled earlier, Mosen and his unit were deployed to Afghanistan. There he was going to use his special skills. As a native of Pakistan, he spoke Urdu, and as a Muslim, he spoke Arabic. And he could speak to the Afghans in those languages to reassure them about America's intentions in that country. Unfortunately, 3 months later, on September 17, 2008, First Lieutenant Mohsen Naqvi was killed by a roadside bomb. 3 other American soldiers were killed with him. Sergeant Joseph W. Harris, 21, of Romeoville, Illinois. Captain Bruce E. Hayes, 42, of Cheyenne, Wyoming. And Staff Sergeant Jason A. Vasquez, 24, of Chicago, Illinois. They were among the 155 U.S. soldiers who were killed in Afghanistan that year. Mosen was buried with full military honors after a solemn service from that mosque where he had been married just 3 months earlier. After the 3 rifle volleys and the playing of taps, the flag covering his coffin was ceremoniously folded and presented to his 20-year-old widow, Raazia. Brigadier General William Phillips then presented Raazia with Mosen's Purple Heart, his Bronze Star, his Combat Infantry Badge, and his dog tags. Brigadier General Phillips said, Mosen served his army with great distinction. He is a true patriot. Mosen's father said, we are patriotic Americans. We are proud to be Americans, but still people do not trust us. Why? Why is that? Why are we Muslims blamed for what 19 people did? Why? Why is that? My son was a patriotic American. He did his best, and now he's lying there under tons of dirt. What more can you ask from a patriotic American? Mosen's 18-year-old brother said, Mohsen told me that he had to stay in the army because that was the only way he had as a Muslim to show how much he loved this country. I don't know anyone who loved this country more than Mohsen. Mohsen is my hero. I look up to him, and I hope everyone can do the same. The story of one American soldier, First Lieutenant Mohsen Naqvi.